I'll go ahead and call this hearing to order. 2 weeks ago, the committee heard from Administrator Mills about the Small Business Administration's budget for 2012. The committee now has the opportunity to provide its opinion on the budget for the SBA. The views and estimates considered today will be transmitted to Chairman Ryan for incorporation in the Congressional Budget Resolution. The past few years have been very difficult for small businesses. They've had their credit lines cut, they've lost customers, and they've laid off workers. And these businesses have had to reduce their expenses, including overhead. The federal government faces very similar constraints, and the chasm of the deficit requires tough choices to be made. There appears to be no effort put forth by the administration to eliminate duplicative programs that are costing taxpayers millions of dollars. The views and estimates before us cut nearly $100 million from the SBA budget. 14 programs are defunded because they are duplicated existing programs at the SBA or they're duplicated at other agencies. Other programs receive no recommendations of funds where there is an absence of any evidence that they are actually helping small businesses create new jobs. Despite these cuts, the core functions of the SBA to make capital available, to provide advice, and to increase the utilization of small businesses as federal government contractors, that is preserved. And in fact, through some very judicious reallocation of funds, the services available to entrepreneurs will be improved over the SBA budget proposal that was given to us. The committee recognizes the potential for fraud and abuse in the various SBA programs, and as a result, the views and estimates provide additional funds for modernizing the loan management accounting system and the Office of Inspector General to address those very concerns. And finally, with the need to fund SBA guaranteed lending programs without which small businesses cannot obtain needed capital to create jobs, the views and estimates under consideration today represents $155 million in the SBA cuts in the SBA budget request for fiscal year 2010. Now recognize the ranking member for opening remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Today's consideration of the committee's views and estimates on the SBA budget proposal could not be happening at a more critical time. In recent months, it has become clear that the economy is showing progress on many fronts. However, employment gains are lagging, and it is in this respect that the SBA can play an important role. Unfortunately, the SBA continues putting its own unauthorized programs ahead of other proven initiatives. This includes 7 initiatives at a cost of more than $15 million. Yet, no performance metrics accompany these sizable requests. We all need to tighten our belt, and it begins with proposals like this. Just as the administration is creating its own programs outside of the legislative process, it is defunding initiatives that have been documented and that have a pattern of success. The SBDC programs, for instance, which saw its core budget cut by $10 million, produces nearly $3 in federal revenue for every dollar spent. It simply makes no sense to divert money from reputable programs and give it to the agency's untested projects. The SBA also continues picking which programs to administer and which to overlook. It seems fit to implement the 504 refinancing and the intermediary pilot programs, even though they risk taxpayers' dollars excessively and offer little in the way of a meaningful job creation. And over the past 5 years, the SBA has dumped millions into ineffective IT system, the loan management accounting system. But when it comes to other initiatives, such as the increased Veterans Participation Program, which was passed into law 3 years ago, the agency cannot find any money. Little attention is also paid to solving SBA's most pressing problems, such as the ongoing fraud in its contracting and delegated authority in the lending programs. If we are going to spend additional money, it should go toward cleaning up waste and abuse so that the agency's existing programs actually work and help small businesses. With regard to the majority's views and estimate letter, I support several provisions. The letter recommends the elimination of several unauthorized pilot programs, as well as the questionable initiatives created in the Small Business Jobs Act of 2010. It is correct to terminate those programs as they have not demonstrated any value to the taxpayer. However, there are several areas of concern. By proposing to eliminate funding for the Veterans Business Outreach Center, it is limiting the ability of the 190,000 veterans from Iraq and Afghanistan to launch their own businesses. Veterans who have a high rate of entrepreneurship need more outreach, not less, regardless the cost. As we seek to tighten the SBA's belt, we should not be doing so at the expense of those who have already sacrificed so much for our nation. On this basis alone, members should take pause in adopting these views. With regard to ending frivolous program, we missed an opportunity to send a clear message on the administration proposed SBIC subprograms. The views letter sends inconsistent signals by first stating that funds should not be made available for these initiatives. Then it seemingly contradicts itself by stating that if a new program is created, the SBA should do so with a separate credit subsidy rate. This gives the agency at least tacit approval to go forward with this unauthorized project. As a result, the views are permitting the exact sort of wasteful spending that we are concerned with stopping. I am concerned regarding all other wasteful, unauthorized programs in any form, and we will make this clear in our views. As we all know, it is not uncommon to disagree on budget priorities. While the chairman and I may not fully agree on our views, I think it is clear that we're both disappointed in the agency's priorities. The inconsistency in its funding request is indicative of an agency that needs to rethink its priorities. Just as the recent downturn required entrepreneurs to think more strategically, the SBA should be doing the same. What this committee needs to see is a refocusing on initiatives that have positively impacted business owners while giving taxpayers a reasonable return on their investment. With that, I yield back.
Thank you. Are there any other members who wish to be recognized for a statement on the views and estimates? Yeah, it's just Cicilline.
Cicilline, you got it right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do have some remarks that I would like to, with unanimous consent, ask to be included in the record.
Thank you very much. No objection. We'll include them in the record. Any other members wish to be heard? The committee now moves the consideration of the views and estimates letter. The clerk will read the title of the document.
Views and estimates of the Committee on Small Business on matters to be set forth in the concurrent resolution on the budget for fiscal year 2012.
I would ask unanimous consent that the views and estimates letter be considered as read and open for amendment in its entirety. Does any member seek recognition for the purpose of offering an amendment? Seeing none, the question is on adopting the views and estimates letter. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, say no. The ayes appear to have it. It's the opinion of the chair that the ayes do have it. The views and estimate letter is agreed to, and I now recognize the ranking member for a motion.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I want to provide the committee notice that Democrats will be filing separate views with the Committee on Budget.
Without objection, so ordered. And I would ask unanimous consent that the committee be authorized to correct punctuation, make any other necessary technical errors in the document considered today. Without objection, that is so ordered. I do want to real quick before we finish welcome Mr. Hanna from New York and Mr. Barletta from Pennsylvania to the committee, brand new members, and I appreciate them being here today. And with that, the hearing's adjourned. Thank you.